right, guys, let's see what this Novi Supercharged Foxbody can do. Hey, what's going on, everybody? I am here with my good friend Dwayne and his son Daniel, and today we're not just talking about one Foxbody Mustang, guys. We're actually going to talk about two, because Daniel just turned 15 and he got himself a Project Foxbody. So guys, why don't we go ahead and take a walk over by Daniel's car, and Dwayne will talk about your car here in a second. Okay. So Dwayne, what year is this car? And I know there's a little bit of a barn find story about this one, right?
Yeah. So this is a 1988 Ford Mustang GT automatic. It was listed through Craigslist, believe it or not.
Really?
Yeah, so a friend of mine's looking through Craigslist, and he knows I'm into the Foxbody. He's just like, hey, Dwayne, he's like, there's this really solid Foxbody that's that somebody's trying to get rid of, and they were asking like $3 grand. Yeah. And he's like, you should really check it out. So we do, and it was a solid car, and you know, it obviously needs some work, but as far as
like all project cars do, right?
Exactly, yeah. So as far as what needs to be solid, strut towers underneath the car, pretty solid, and so we went with it, and we offered the guy $2 grand.
$2 grand.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's like, yeah, this is we'll let it go for that much, and the rest is history.
So you guys got yourself a solid Foxbody here for $2 grand, and let's take a look under the hood. I'm kind of curious to see what you got going on here. All right. Yeah, it's a project, but I mean, everything's here, right? Except for air conditioning, Dan. You know that there's no air. How do you feel about this car? I mean, I know you're a younger guy, and we were talking earlier about you know, how excited your dad and I were when we were like your age to be getting our driver's license and a car, and this was like our dream, like to have a car like this. So how do you feel about actually knowing that you've got one of these already and you're about to turn 16 years old?
I mean, it feels pretty good. I mean, my dad got his 2 years ago. Ever since then, I've kind of wanted one. And
okay, that's pretty cool. So was that your first kind of experience with the Foxbody kind of Mustang? Was when you were with your dad?
I've ever known about them and figured out about them.
Very, very cool. I know when I was your age, for me, like just the sound and, you know, the torquey kind of stoplight to stoplight, you know, was just something that you can't explain it until you actually experience it, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, Dwayne, you said it was an 88, right?
Correct.
And you guys have already been doing a lot of restoration. I know actually you've got some parts over here. Correct. The ashtray door still actually works. Like, that is gold right there.
It is, yeah.
Very, very cool.
And typical Foxbodies, we all know about the gangster lean on these seats.
Yeah.
So that was the first thing we pulled out. And I'm like, Daniel, we can fix this. You know, we've all known about it. He's like, well, what is that? I'm like, it's something that's inside the frame. It's the structure of it. So we'll have to straighten it out and get it welded, and that's what we did. And so that's why, you know, now you look at it, and you know, no front driver's seat.
Sure, sure.
But look at the passenger side, solid.
Yeah, it's very, very solid. So you actually then, you welded this? You actually fixed the lean on it?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's ready to go over the winter. I think we'll start getting it all back together. We kind of want to get the interior nice and ready for him. That way he can drive it, and as he progresses, he can do whatever he wants with the exterior. Maybe, you know, at 16, I mean, he can probably bump something or get bumped, or you know, you just never know. So we'll do that. We'll get that ready first, and then the rest he can continue.
Very, very cool. Well, I'm a bit jealous, Daniel, because when I was your age, like I said, you know, to have something like this is really amazing. And Dwayne, I think that this is like the coolest thing ever. The fact that, you know, you guys have a father-son project here, you know, something for you two to bond over. And again, you know, you just can't beat, like, you know, something like this, right? Sharing something like this with your son. I'm sure you're probably actually more excited than he is, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. you know, it's I tell him, like, you know, every day, you know, if you can put in an hour here and there, you'll see progression. I mean, it's like you know, like no different than my car. You know, it wasn't always all there. It was, you know, a little bit here and there.
It takes time. Yeah, absolutely. That's one thing to remember. And another thing, word of advice from a fellow Foxbody owner, is that these cars sometimes will frustrate you. They will throw some curveballs at you, but stick with it, because there is nothing better than that feeling when everything is right and you're cruising around and just having a blast with it. So all right, Daniel, we're gonna let you get back to being a 15-year-old here. But before you go, actually, I want to give you, you're getting the first here. That's it. That's the first Brother Tom t-shirt right there. So there we go. Look at that. Very cool. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you taking some time to talk about your car here. And again, wish you the best of luck. And I'm looking forward to seeing it all finished. All right. So make sure you stay busy this winter. And you're like getting this car done, because we all want to see how it looks when it's done. All right. Awesome. Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. All right, guys. Now I'm just here with my buddy Dwayne, and we are finally going to talk about his Foxbody. So Dwayne, let's start from the beginning here. Okay, first and foremost, I think Daniel just said that you've owned this car for 2 years now.
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, was this your first Foxbody, or?
It wasn't, no. This is my third one that I've ever owned. Very first one, I was 19.
Okay.
Life happened, got rid of it. I got into some different cars around that time, and then back in like 2020, I started watching YouTube videos, and the one that pops up was your videos, and I'm like, man, you know, really gave me an itch to go back to the Foxbodies, and I started searching. Then in 2021, I found this right here. It wasn't totally, I mean, most of it was already done.
So what year is this car?
This is a 1993.
Okay, so you got a 93.
GT.
And what was the condition when you bought it? Was the motor kind of, because nowadays whenever you find these cars, usually there's something that's been done to them already, right?
Correct, yeah. So really the way you see it, it was a company by the name of Savage Performance had done all the motor work.
Okay.
And then when I got it, obviously I wanted more horsepower, and
really? I want more horsepower.
So I decided to throw in that supercharger, just, you know, little stuff here and there, but you know, pretty much the way you see it is the way it was.
Well, you know what I love about this is, you know, I kind of use this term maybe a little bit too much, but I say period correct. But this really is kind of like a period correct build, you know, especially with this. So this is what I'm excited about is this is my first supercharged you know, car, Foxbody, whatever, that is not a Vortec and you know, not a Pro Charger. So you actually have an old Paxton Novi Supercharger, and you know, again, back in the day, like it was Paxton, you know, Paxton was like king. And then, you know, Vortec was out there as well, and there were a couple others, but I mean, these were really like the king of the road back then. And they have that, you know, really nice straight cut gear sound to them. So it's really cool. I really enjoy like seeing stuff like this, because it kind of just brings you back to, you know, the 80s and the 90s with the period correct builds. You know, this is the stuff that we used to dream that we could have, right?
Exactly. Oh,
you know?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, never, you know, in my teenage years that I could ever dream that I could have this right here. I mean, we would do stuff like porting, get rid of that air conditioner, which is like a big no-no now.
Yeah, now that we're older.
Just to gain a little bit of horsepower. And, and you know, now I think back, I'm like, what the hell were we thinking?
Yeah, right.
And now that we can afford them, we're doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
So.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about, I guess, suspension and brakes, because your car sits like really, really nice. Wheels are tucked in nice too. So what do you got going on suspension-wise?
So it's a little bit of a Frankenstein, but most of it is all BMR. I got
Okay.
BMR K-member, BMR upper and lower control arms, both front and rear. And I want to say these are, as far as the shocks, they are the Coney shocks,
Okay.
all the way around. And then E-box springs.
Okay. And I see that you've got the Cobra brakes up here. So is this the Cobra brake conversion, or?
That is, yeah,
Okay.
that's a 0304 Cobra conversion, 13-inch rotors, I believe.
Okay.
And so, really, I wanted that stance where it appeared that the rear was a lot wider, but really, the difference in the wheel width is only half an inch. I think it's an 8.5 versus a 9.5 in the rear.
Really?
But I think we tricked the eye with going in the rear. As you can see, we're doing a 285/40
Okay.
18, and up front is a 235/40 18. So it just gives it that appearance like we're a lot bigger and fatter in back.
Yeah, I'm surprised because your wheel is actually tucked in really nice here. But I'm assuming that's just you got some backspacing then on the wheels here, right?
Correct. Yeah.
That's very, very nice. And what wheel? Speaking of wheels, what are these? These are really nice.
Well, maybe I might get it wrong, but a Dohan 08s.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows how to pronounce that. I've heard Adahan or Aota, yeah, like you're saying.
Yeah.
So, but these are really, really nice wheels. I think it kind of, is a really nice kind of pop to the black, right?
Yes. Yes. Correct. Yeah.
Very, very nice. And you said these are what size? 285?
These are 285.
285/40
correct,
18s in the back. Okay.
And I was able to keep the quad shock as well. As you know, we flipped it around, and I mean, it's just we're just there, but there's no rubbing.
Okay. So instead of removing the quad shocks, you just flip them around. That's like the old
yes.
trick, right? To be able to keep them, put
Correct,
fatter
yeah.
tires in the back.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk a little bit about the exhaust. I know we're going to hear it here in a little bit, but you definitely hear this car coming. So I'm kind of curious. So what do you got going as far as exhaust wise?
So really, I mean, just a typical H pipe, no cats. I got the Flowmasters, 2 chambers,
Okay.
and they're dumps. So we're not. I believe that's the reason why it's a little bit louder.
It's a little bit louder.
It's a little
Okay.
bit shorter, and everybody compliments on me on that, and I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of again the classic sound, especially with the dumps. A lot of us guys did that back in the day. But you've got the really nice supercharger whine up front, and then you have that nice thump in the back. I guess actually what we didn't talk about was what about the cam in this car, because this car actually has a really nice kind of choppy sound to it. What do you got going on as far as the valve train wise?
So up until then, I had never really heard of a Lunati. I think everybody used to go with the B cams.
Yeah, the letter
And,
cams are super popular.
And I going through the paperwork, I seen it was listed as a Lunati. I think it's kind of mild, and yeah, it chops pretty good. I mean, I'm pretty happy with it.
All right, Dwayne, why don't we go ahead and let's take a look inside the car here, and let's talk about the trans and that monster shifter that you've got going on over here. Oh, wow. Very, very clean. I like the contrast here with the black and the gray. And what seats are these?
These are the TMI seats. From what I understand, these were pretty much made to replicate the 0304 Cobras.
Okay.
And
they're very comfortable. I mean, I've been in your car before, and I mean, these seats are like extremely comfortable. But it's really a nice fit, I think, with the colors, and again, like I like how you kind of worked in the door armrests and everything with the black, the gray and the black. So again, let's talk about transmission here. What trans do you have in the car?
so that's a T56. From what I understand, it's not a Magnum. I actually bought this trans from a guy that does YouTube videos, and Turbo Man, and supposedly he pretty much put all Halen Motorsport parts in it. So it's a built tranny.
Okay. And what about this shifter? This is obviously a little bit. Oh, so that's just a Hurst.
Just a Hurst. Yeah,
But okay, but a lot taller. Yeah, I guess I've seen some super stubbies, and then I've seen some of the longer ones like this. I guess it's all just preference, right?
Yeah, and me being a little short and probably shorter arms, it fits me perfect. Yeah.
Nice, nice. Okay, and then obviously, again, this is kind of you know, the period correct with the big monster tack. I don't know, man. I think you know, as far as interior wise, that you did a great job. The car's extremely clean, and man, again, I just really like these seats.
And it's not a low mile car either, by no means. You know, 125,000 I think we got now.
Oh wow,
and,
wow.
Yeah, I drive it a lot.
Yeah, yeah, guys, I can tell you, actually, Dwayne does drive this car, because when we went to Motor City Fox Fest, right, in Detroit, he actually drove his car there, and you actually just got back today from a show up in Wisconsin, right?
That's correct, yeah.
Okay, so you drove all the way there.
Out there, yep, and drove it back.
Yeah.
It was 2 hours there, 2 hours back.
I love it. I mean, your car is extremely clean, and yet, like you just said, you've got over, what, 120,000 miles on it, and you drive it. Like, you're not afraid to drive this car, right?
It's not perfect. You know, you'll see your, you know, little nicks here and there. A
couple rock chips,
but,
you know.
You know, I can say that I can drive it and not worry about, you know, destroying the paint or whatever.
Sure. Sure. Very, very cool. All right, before I forget, I wanted to talk about these rear taillights, because I've actually never seen these before. Are these LED taillights?
They are, yes.
What brand are these? Are these classic LEDs, or are these actually just some aftermarket?
Some aftermarket, I believe. They were on a car when I got it, and when I first bought the car, I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to the cheese graters. I wasn't really liking them because everybody hates. It's kind of got that Euro look, but it's not really.
It's not. You know what? I don't hate them, actually. I know exactly what kind of taillights you're talking about too, and those are the ones that people are just ready to, like, you know, launch a missile at the car when they see them, right?
Yeah. So what I did, I'm like, you know what? Let me try something. I'm like, why don't I just put some pinstripes, like, you know, like the Cobra ones?
Yep.
And you know, I did it. I looked back. I'm like, you know what? That doesn't look bad.
No, I think it came out really nice, actually. And it's unique, right?
Yes, it's my own little twist.
You made it your own, exactly. Very, very nice. All right, guys, this is always my favorite part of the video. What do you say we go for a ride? Something I noticed, actually, you got your little Holly dash mounted there on the on the cluster right there. So where'd you get the idea for that one?
From you,
brother Tom. Guys, if anybody's interested in knowing how, that's actually magnetic, so it's not glued. That's actually a magnetic mounting. So if anybody's interested, just send us a message. All right, guys, let's see what this Novi Supercharged Foxbody can do. Good. Sounds amazing too, man. What rear end gear do you have in this car?
373.
Okay, so you got 373. Man, that thing really came out of the hole. It hooked really good too.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, you know, one thing we actually forgot to talk about was the tuning of the car, because you do have the Holley EFI. Now, who tuned your car? It was Joe, right?
Joe from AJ Performance.
Okay.
Yes.
And Joe from AJ Performance is actually the guy that tuned my car, guys. Great guy, and I'll put a link down in the description to AJ Performance in case anybody in the Chicagoland, Wisconsin, Indiana area is interested. Now, Dwayne, how many pounds of boost do you have with the Supercharger?
10 pounds.
10 pounds, okay. So the really cool thing is that your car is very similar to mine as far as the build goes. Heads cam intake, supercharger, and different being in the passenger side, right? I'm not the one driving the car.
Yeah, we haven't put it on a dyno yet because Joe wanted me to kind of drive it, have a feel for it, and we're thinking that somewhere in a 400 range of the tires.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say you're going to be a lot closer to 500 than you are to 400.
Guess we'll find out, huh?
I guess we're going to find out. I mean, for not being tuned on the dyno, I mean, your car really pulls hard. Man. All right, guys, Dwayne asked me if I want to drive, and of course I do. So I'm going to hand the camera over to him. So let's, of course, I'm going to be respectful, buddy. So let's see what we see. I mean, again, what is kind of interesting is that this is a very similar setup to my car. You know, different supercharger, different cam, and intake and stuff like that.
Different trans.
Different trans, which is I drove a 6-speed before, and I loved it. So you know, let's just see what we see. We'll have some fun.
Alrighty.
All right. It just sounds so good. And you know what? We didn't talk about your clutch here because I know you've got a hydraulic clutch setup. So what's the clutch that's in this car?
So the clutch in this car is a Spec II clutch. It's actually really heavy duty, as you can tell. I mean, for being a hydraulic clutch, I mean, you still have to really get into it.
It's a bit grabby too. You know, like I've got a McLeod, like whatever their stage 1 clutch is.
Yep.
And you know, it's kind of forgiving. Like you've got a lot of room. You know, when it finally starts engaging.
Yep.
Yours, I can feel it really. When it grabs, it grabs.
Yes, yeah.
But it's not, and it sounds so good. Woo! For being lowered, I know, like, you know, back in the day when cars got lowered, they really lost a lot of the ride quality, right?
Really bumpy.
Yeah, they were very bumpy. You felt everything on the road. Your car is actually very, very comfortable, and I really love these seats. They're kind of like, feels like they're hugging you, right?
They're
like
holding
they're holding you
yes,
in there.
Yes.
Man.
And what's crazy is that you may not know it, whatever, but the inspiration was from like you and Mario. When I first decided to come back and get into the Foxbodies, this is in 2020, this is COVID, so I had nothing to do, you know, so I started watching YouTube videos, and I'm like, man, look at these guys, what they're doing. And it was like you and Mario, and I'm like, and then I found out that you guys were from Illinois. I'm like, man, that's even better.
And from that, we've all actually finally met and became friends.
Correct. Yep.
And here we are. We all get to share this same passion together, right?
Exactly.
Social media is very, very amazing in that aspect because it's kind of generated so many friendships for me.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like, you know, Mario and I went to high school, and you know, it just brought everybody back together. So yeah, I've created so many new friendships just from owning my car and from social media, and especially from YouTube.
And yeah, it's crazy because it's only been a short 2 years for me. And yeah, the people that I've met, I mean, everyone in the community is so willing to share their information. I think at one time I even messaged Tom with War Admiral, and you know, about certain things, and he was forthcoming on, yeah, this is what
the community is really supportive, and that's one thing I really love about it. And again, it's these cars that bring us together. And I was just having this conversation with the guys at 50 Asylum, right, when I was doing that podcast, how, you know, when it comes to this hobby that we have, this passion that we have, and it doesn't matter about age, it doesn't matter about race, it doesn't matter about politics, right? Like, all of that is set aside because we all have the same passion.
Exactly.
And I think that's amazing. That you know, again, like I said, doesn't matter your age, race, politics, whatever. We can all just be friends with each other and enjoy this stuff together, right?
And the other crazier part is that not a lot of Hispanic Latinos are really into these you know, the only really person that I know that's big is Mario. You know, and which hopefully I inspire more of the Hispanic community, and you know,
I think that'd
out.
be great.
Yeah.
Absolutely, I agree. All right, guys, we're back from the ride, and Dwayne, I got to say, buddy, thank you so much for letting me drive your car. Again, we were just talking about how this car is kind of a similar build, but you know, all of these cars are different. They're very unique, and I had so much fun driving your car. The sound with the cam and with the exhaust, and of course with the 6-speed, really an awesome experience. So I really appreciate that. And I also want to say thank you for having your son Daniel, you know, come in the video and letting us show his car. Again, I think this is really what this hobby is all about, you know, like being able to share it with other people, especially your son. Again, this is going to be such a bonding experience for the two of you, and I'm sure something that he's going to remember, obviously, for the rest of his life. You as well, too, right?
Correct, yeah.
So, again, I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me drive your car. I don't know, man. I'm going to go home and drive my car and try to shift for 6th, and then before we go here, again, I got something for you. This is the new Brother Tom shirt, and you and your son are the first 2 people to get them.
Nice.
So thanks for being part of the video. Wear it in good health, obviously.
Well, I won't be so fancy like you, whatever, but I've got one for you as well.
Oh, I get a gift too here, huh?
Yeah, a little Chicano Fox
Awesome.
front, and then
Let's see what the back. Foxbody for life. I love it, buddy. Man, that's awesome. And it's just my size, too. Thank you, bud. I appreciate this, man. All right, guys, we're going to wrap things up here. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Dwayne, again, I appreciate you and Daniel for taking the time. If you guys have any questions or comments about the cars, post them down below. We'll do our best to answer them for you. If you like the video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.